Today we are going to be talking about unlocking value from data analytics from a practical point of view, and going to be sharing things I've been learning from my experience. And this talk is for you if you are working in a data team or will benefit from having better data and analytics, and also if you are a stakeholder decision making in how to manage data within your organization. So a bit of introduction. I'm a data engineering consultant. I started my own company recently called Data Feria, and I'm director as well of Eastern Canada Consulting in UK, where we specialize in full stack data engineering. And I've been formerly Amazon lead data engineer, so working in a machine learning product globally. I have 15 years of experience, including a number of sectors like property market, energy, pharmacy, telecom, and the public sector, finance institutions, to name a few. My background is in biology, and I have 3 master's degree where I specialize in technology, and soon in my career I started working with data processing. So data is quite vast, but we just utilize a very fraction of it. It's calculated about only 5% of all the data that could be used is actually utilized by companies. On the other hand, we have a very really complex ecosystem of tools around data. Is really skyrocketing the number of tools that you can use nowadays to perform data engineering tasks or data analytics and machine learning products. And this is adding complexity into the mix. And this complexity is sitting within the heart of all the data flow and access of information within an organization that impact every single unit within a company. So data engineering produce all the data manipulation, so from ingestion to data processing to prepare it in a way for consumers to produce the analytics or machine learning products that are going to be impacting all the business, from sales to legal, finance, and operations. So within this complexity and vast daunting task of producing all this information for all the stakeholders, I was not surprised to hear about these statistics. So according to a recent research, 97% of data engineers reported to feel burnout. So that's quite a high number. So obviously, this is also impacting on the job satisfaction or lack of job satisfaction, and the retention rate within this field usually is low. So within this scenario, we have a typical company. So company A is your typical company where data is very fragmented, usually living in silos across different units in the organization. There's a problem because it's not consolidated and it's not accessible for people to query and make informed decisions. So in this type of organization, business A, it's also a small number of people within the organization that has access to that data. usually less than 1% has access and know how to query the information. So data access requires in these organizations to have data experts. So either data engineers or analysts, BI people, or even data scientists often are facilitating information, often in ad hoc requests. So what's happening in these organizations that is your typical organization is that decision making is most of the time based on guesswork. In experience, is based on the experience of the people working on the organization and intuition. So we have on the other side a business B. A business B have data in a consolidated way, is held securely, and is accessible for people to action on that information. So in this organization, most people are data literate, so meaning they know how to query information, they know how to use the tools that are available for them to create infographics, create reports and numbers that can validate hypotheses they have. So the data here in this organization is self-service. So about 80% of the data that is required for someone to perform his job is available. They have the capacity to auto request and self-serve this information. And because of these organizations are able to make decisions based on facts, and they use also intuition and experience, but they can prove hypotheses and make a case to create a bigger budget for a particular product, or whatever business decision, they can use data and numbers to validate these hypotheses. So within these two companies, I'm sure that most of us, we will like and we will love to work for company B. And unfortunately, most of companies are in a stage of business A. So how we go for creating more companies B, where we have more access to data in a way that business decision can be driven by information. So how can we convert these problems into opportunities? So I think that we need to start on the process of building a data product. Anytime you build a product, that happens that there are three elements that you need to balance. So you have certain amount of time and energy and resources that you can put into building a product, and usually you have to make decisions what to make a product, either work on making really fit to market, so build whatever the customer wants, versus building the product fast or building the product in the right way. So these three elements interact with each other and require different efforts, and often compete with the resources that are available. It happens quite often that when we launch a product, obviously we want it to be the right product for our customer and be the right thing to build, and that's why the fit to market market fit is the first thing that we really care about it, and there is a reason why. It doesn't make sense we are building data product that doesn't have the impact we are looking for. So when you create first product, absolutely market fit is super important, as well as building the product as fast as possible, as quickly as possible, to validate your hypothesis. Now, it often happens that the third, so building the product in the right way, is left behind. So it's left behind at the beginning for a reason. But my point I want to make here is that soon after you have validated your product and are able to create a production pipeline for that, soon enough you want to put your effort in building it in the right way. So there is a lot of literature about how to make a CI/CD pipeline in the right way, and creating monitoring, creating the data quality checks, and all the good development practices within a data product. You absolutely want to build this as soon as possible. So it happens that this building the right way is going to impact very soon your capacity to build new features and maintain your product relevant. So this affects as well the quality of how your product is fitting that customer needs. And building in the right way is also ultimately affecting the market fit, because you are going to be able to build a trust within your product when you have a robust architecture and data pipeline and all the measurements that is impacting this information, this particular product. So it's, at the end of the day, it's a flywheel that interact with each other. So what at the beginning we are putting the focus on the market fit and building quickly enough, we soon need to put the focus on building our data infrastructure in the right way. So these processes are how you make sure that you are balancing these three elements in the right way. How you make sure that you're putting the right effort in these three departments. So my point is, you need to mature, you need to have metrics that is validating these different dimensions, but in particular within data engineering, that is often a black box for businesses. Often happens that the different divisions, they don't know really much what is going on within data engineering. They believe there is some kind of smart people working there, and they don't understand pretty much what is going on. Even stakeholders within data teams that have senior positions often are not well connected with what is going on the granular level within data engineering team. It's just complexity, and it's also complex for people outside that team to understand what is going on there. So because of that, is fundamental, it's crucial to have to have metrics that validate that you have an engineering function that is fit for purpose and is healthy and is creating value within the business and supporting all the other units within a business. So obviously, we have heard all about what you cannot improve, what you are not measuring. So on the data engineering side, I think it's important to be measuring things like the data model consistency. So as we have been building products within data engineering, especially from the 2000, when we have this boom of microservices and cloud services. And we have moved from relational databases with 3 normalization rules to a more fragmented ecosystem where we have unstructured data and data lakes and machine learning and streaming and all these different data sources. Having consistency across data models is a must, and you need to put effort consciously to guarantee that data consistency across platforms. So putting metrics that give people in the business, and not only data engineers, but outside the team of data engineers, to have visibility of how is the health within the data model consistency across the business is quite crucial. The same as goes for data privacy and security. Is really, really important, especially nowadays. We have a regulation like a GDPR, and we have news about data breaks, and cyber security is so important. It's really crucial you are measuring data privacy and security within your data engineering's unit. Is often overlooked, and it's not that difficult with the tool we have nowadays to gain visibility on this front. The other block of measures you want to have is around data accessibility. So is my data available across the different business units that need to have access? So who has access to what? And have measures of this is really relevant. And the other block is about data pipeline health. And while your data team might have a long list of metrics to diagnose and monitor the data pipeline, it's also important to have a number of those high level that are accessed by the rest of the business. And the other block is about technical debt. So are we measuring how fast we are building the product versus improving our repositories, our code, and our infrastructure, and our data security, data quality checks? How much time are we spending on troubleshooting and in technical debt or legacy system we are maintaining versus building things and improving our systems? So these blocks is I think are the most important, or the different sections I would be considering for measuring and making sense of data engineering and transforming that black box that often data engineering is to something the business can action and understand. And finally, I want to talk about data culture. So in order to become that business, be a data-driven business, it is a work that underpin every single unit within a business. Is not owned by the data team, is not owned by data engineering. This requires business culture shift and a lot of effort to make this a reality within the business. So you want to have a culture where you empower people, and people have the education to either have been able to write minimal SQL queries to retrieve information, or have knowledge about using certain tools that allow them to query the information and create graph in different ways. But having this as a culture, so you're providing the resources, the education, the training required, and help people to utilize that information, coverage to people to use the information to make decisions is fundamental. So the best businesses I work for, they actually really have most of people in the business, sales, marketing, finance. They are able to query the information that's relevant for them. So they can run A/B testing, they can validate hypotheses, they can create product roadmaps using relevant information. So building a data culture is a big task, and it requires really putting the effort there to unblock your data team so become more visible and you understand what is going on there. You really connect this unit with the rest of the business, and you put the effort in building uh, the data, the team, and the people working around the information. So that's involved the education in terms of data access, self-service, functional skills. So how you plot, graph the data, how you think critically about the information. So data is just a model of the reality, and we need to understand also the flows of the information we are utilizing. What is the confidence intervals of that piece of data? How consistent coherence is. Understanding and thinking critically also is really important. And of course, data privacy and security is paramount. So having people understanding when data is confidential or not, and what to do with information that is dubious, and they might have a concern about it, or information that they detect that might be inflicting some PI or rules around GDPR. So this is a work that involves every single person in your organization. So without more ado things, this is the end of my talk. Thank you very much for watching, and I wish it was useful and open for any questions. I will follow up in the chat. And yeah, without more ado, let me see if I can see questions coming. So if there is no any questions, I will follow up within the Discord. So I will be available if you have any questions. And thank you very much for coming.